Jonah, like, he turned around and he looked at me. He was like, "You're like me?" He's like, "You've had surgeries?" And like, I'm like, "Yeah, I have." And it's like I want more moments like that. Having the ability to like connect to like other people like that is just so great, and allowing for people to find their community.
Welcome to It's a Rare Story. We're so excited that you found us. On today's episode, we have Darcey. Darcey was born with a unilateral cleft lip and palate, and her story is filled with resilience and hope. If you have yet to subscribe, make sure to subscribe. We're so excited and thank you for tuning into today's episode of It's a Rare Story. Darcey, I just want to ask, what was it that you were born with?
I was born with a unilateral cleft lip and palate.
Okay. What is a unilateral cleft lip and palate?
So basically, when I was born, one side of my um, top lip didn't form all the way, and then same with like the palate in the roof of my mouth, it did not also form all the way correctly. So I've had to go through six, seven surgeries to fix that.
Wow. So with those surgeries, was it challenging? I personally only went through one craniofacial surgery, so like what types of surgeries did you have to go through?
A lot of the major ones happened when I was little, so I don't really remember a whole bunch. But the ones that do stick out to me were my jaw surgery. So I had a very severe underbite. So surgeons went in and brought my upper jaw forward. And with that, I had my mouth was rubber banded shut for like about a month. So all liquid diet, no talking, which was very hard for me because I am very much a talker. Um, and then the other recent one I had was my rhinoplasty to like fix my deviated septum. But that wasn't nearly as major as the jaw surgery.
So you said liquid diet for the jaw surgery. What was your favorite liquid item to consume?
Um, I lived off of like little tiny little strawberry like insures. Um, and then later down the road, we found these like really high protein, really high calorie like soy drinks. Um, and you find that you get so bored drinking the same thing every day, and you start getting these really bad cravings. And so the soy drinks came in like so many different flavors, and it was nice that they were both like high calorie and high protein because normally it's like one or the other, which is not what you're looking for when you're like living off of liquids. Um, so mainly the insures, and then later down the road those like soy drinks.
So growing up, like, how did the cleft lip and palate affect you?
Um, in regards to like functionality, it didn't really affect me all that much. I grew up going to speech therapy up until maybe like middle school time frame. And I didn't really see that as like being any different to like my day-to-day living. It was just like, oh, something else I would have to do. Same with like surgeries. It was just like, oh yeah, just one more thing on my plate that I have to do. Um, but like with my underbite, like I couldn't really like eat properly, if that makes sense. Like I couldn't like bite into like a hamburger normally, or like an apple, or like corn on the cob. So like I would always have to like have things in like little chunks, or same with like having a deviated septum, like I wasn't really able to like breathe properly until I had the surgeries to fix it. Um but other than that, it really like functionality wise, it wasn't too different to like day-to-day living.
So, growing up, did you have any like hobbies that you just really enjoyed? And even things that you do today? Like, what is it that you just love doing?
Um, Sixth grade, I picked up the clarinet. Um, it was pretty difficult in the beginning. Um, my tone was so bad and um like having my craniofacial difference made it so hard to play until I had the surgeries to fix it. But through that I've joined marching the zoo, so I'll be like a third year member, which is so exciting. I've gotten to march in Ireland for the St. Patrick's Parade in Dublin. I've gotten to march at like a bunch of like bowl games. We're going to London next June. Um so that's kind of mainly what I do for fun. And then I've always been a very outdoorsy person, so I love to like hike and just in general be outside as much as I can.
So, when when you picked up clarinet, did you think that you were going to have challenges with it? Or,
Oh, absolutely.
okay,
And I was even kind of like when picking out an instrument, like I had that in the back of my mind, like I don't really have like a normal, top lip or like normal like facial anatomy, so I can't really do brass. I can't really do like the buzzing that they do with like their mouthpieces. So I also played saxophone, so like embouchure wise, that worked out really well. And then I could never get a sound out on a flute. I've tried so many times. I'm just not like made for that. Um, so like when picking like an instrument, I definitely had to think about it, but it didn't like hold me back from wanting to be involved with band.
that's really good that it didn't hold you back from that.
Hmm.
Wow, that's amazing. What has your journey really just like showed you with having the cleft lip and palate?
Um, I feel like it's really shown me that even though like things are really hard in the moment, they can come out to be like really great and positive things. Like when I was little, I'd always kind of be like, why of all the people do I have to go through all these surgeries? Or like, why do I have to be the one that looks different or like go through these really specific hardships? But now that I'm older, I'm really grateful that I have my cleft. I feel that it's really given me a pathway for what I want to do with like my future. And I want to do pediatric plastics and specialize in like craniofacial surgery. And so work with kids who also have craniofacial differences. And I feel like if I didn't have my cleft, I would not be as interested in medicine or this specific field if like as I currently am. And then also through having my cleft, I've had great experiences and like being able to meet a lot of great people and then getting to be involved with faces and advocacy and being a counselor for faces camp. Like all of these really amazing experiences would not have happened if I wasn't born with a cleft.
That's amazing. What has your experience been with faces?
It's been it's been so great. I don't really remember how I stumbled upon faces. I think I was like scrolling on Instagram one day and like something came up about their camp, and there was like a little thing in the back of my mind was like, you should reach out and like try to be a counselor. Like that sounds fun. You like being outside. Um, and from the minute like I started talking to like Emmy and Ashley, like the directors, it's been such a great experience. And then getting to be the counselor at the camp, hearing the stories of like the campers, and then getting to see them make a bond that's like gonna last with them a lifetime of seeing other people their age who look like them and like have similar experiences. It's truly been amazing.
There was almost a summer where I went to volunteer, but it didn't work out. But I still have that in the back of my mind to like
Hmm.
just go and volunteer at that camp. Yeah, because it's amazing what that camp offers and all
Yeah,
of that. I'm like, wow, like I wish I had this when I was younger.
I know, me too. Like I would give anything for my younger self to have been able to experience meeting someone else with like a cleft or like a facial difference. Because like growing up in like a small town, like it was kind of just me. And so being able to see those kids like realize they're not alone and like to build that community, I feel like is so important for them.
Yeah, yeah, because when you're born with something, whether it's super rare or if it's not as rare,
Hmm.
it still feels like I'm the only one with this, like
Yeah,
in the community that I'm being raised up in. And it's because people can like look at you differently and all that goes along with that. Um, how was your experience with that? Did people look at you differently? Like,
definite like I remember in like elementary school, like really little, I'd have, people come up to me and be like, why does your top lip look like that? Or why do you have like a scar? Like just like the little things, but like those little things stick. Um, yeah, just kind of little comments here and there, but like never anything too severe that I'm sure a lot of other people can definitely experience.
were you okay with them coming up and asking you?
Um, I when I was really little, like I feel like I really didn't show it. I just kind of like explain, like give them my little spiel or whatever, and just kind of like let it roll off. Um, but as I'm older, I love when people ask me like those types of questions because I can like really advocate now. I feel like I really have like grown a voice for advocacy, rather than like when you're like 7 or 8 and you're like, I don't know, like that's just how I was born. Like, what do you mean?
So you recently mentioned about just the advocacy work that you do and how you've gone to the Faces Summer Camp. Is there anything else that you've done in the advocacy world?
Um, Faces has mainly been it, but obviously I'm open to like more opportunities like doing podcasts and other things. Um, Mainly I'll get like a text from Emmy like, "Hey, I'm working on this project. Would you be open to sharing like your thoughts or viewpoints or writing a little blurb?" And so that's kind of mainly where my advocacy journey is at right now, but obviously I'm hoping to like expand to new horizons wherever I get the chance.
Some really like what are you up to right now? Do you go to college? Do you work? All the things.
I'm going into my third year at Mizzou. I am studying biochemistry. Um, I currently work in a research lab. I just recently got my, well, in the process of getting my EMT certification, which is so exciting. And then I'm also a third year, or going to be a third year member of Marching Mizzou.
Wow. That's so cool. So with the research, what do you guys research?
So I am in Dr. Mindari's lab. We do things on epigenetics. I'm kind of like switching where I'm at project wise right now, but immune responses of the current generation with a history of ancestral BPA exposure is my official description.
Well, do you think you could explain that a little bit?
Um,
I know you're pretty new with this research, but just like kind of explain it in a short way, just so that. we can understand it a little bit better.
So we, my main thing, trying to think of how to do this in layman's terms. Hold on,
Sure.
I gotta translate.
Take your
It's
time.
the graduate student that I worked under did a lot of things regarding liver. Our lab likes to do a lot of things with like bisphenol A or like BPA exposure. So when you like buy like a plastic plate or like a plastic water bottle at the store, it'll be like BPA free, which is this chemical found in plastics which can have a lot of like harmful effects on the body. So we mainly study that. And then my graduate student did a lot of things with how it affects the liver. So that's kind of what we do. And then a
Okay.
lot of um work on like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and like different types of diseases in that regard.
That's actually really cool. And it always fascinates me of just the different research that is actually like happening and
Hmm.
all of the discoveries that also happen because of all of the research. So I'm excited to hear all of what you guys learn and figure out and all the things because it's really amazing that we're able to do the research to find out different things that we just have yet to find out about. Um, and yeah, so with doing the research, is this like, do you think you're going to kind of stay in with the research, or are you going to go more into the craniofacial side of things that you were saying earlier, or do both?
Um, Definitely gonna stay in research throughout the rest of my undergrad, so I have, I guess, 2 more years with that, which is really exciting. Main goal would be to get my doctorates, and then hopefully do craniofacial plastics. But I know there are a lot of different ways that you can do like clinical research as well. I know my personal surgeon does clinical research at Washington University, paired with St. Louis Children's, which is where I got all my procedures done. So I would like to follow in his footsteps, and kind of continue with like what he does. Wherever wherever the road may take me, I am open to.
Awesome. Awesome. So just a question. With growing up, did faith play a factor in how you viewed being born with what you were born with?
Um, when I was younger, we didn't really go to church or anything like that. So I feel like when I was younger, faith didn't really play a part in accepting about my condition. But as you know, I've gotten older and I've gotten into my faith and my religion. Absolutely. Growing up, like my family didn't really go to church. Like we still, celebrated Christmas and Easter, but that just going to church on Sundays wasn't really like what we did. It wasn't until I guess my junior year of high school, once I was able to start driving, um, I had a friend really take me under her wing and like invite me to like different church events and that sort of thing. And hearing that like God has a plan for me, God has a path, like there's a reason why you are going through these struggles. It kind of like it really resonated with me. As for like, oh, like I feel like there was a reason I was born with a cleft. There was a reason why I went through all of these surgeries and trials. And I really feel that as I've grown like closer to faith and grown closer to God and have built those like Christian friendships and relationships, I've been able to accept more like why I was born the way that I was born, and kind of see like what God has like laid out in my path for the future.
That's really cool how you you didn't know really about him at that point, like with growing up, but now like you have a completely different like viewpoint on
Mm-hmm.
how like he can still use this for
Mm-hmm.
his glory and wherever he leads you in life. So with having this different viewpoint now, um, what would you tell like someone that is just getting diagnosed with something, whether it's a rare disease, disability, craniofacial condition? What would you tell them, like as advice?
Um, don't let the negative things in life or don't let the hardships in life, um, they will be a setback in the moment, but it is how you build off of those hardships and setbacks that really play a big role in your future. Um, Again, being born with like a cleft, like that was a really hard thing to go through, and like having those surgeries at such a young age can be a really hard thing to process. But from that, I've had beautiful friendships play out. I've had beautiful experiences and opportunities laid out for me. Um, they took time and they took patience to gain, but looking back, am so grateful, and I wouldn't have it wished any other way.
So, what are some of the experiences that you've had the opportunity to have because of the cleft lip and palate?
The main one is faces, getting to go out to Camp Woodmont for a week and, have the rustic experience of like sleeping in a cabin with like your little cabin mates and going out every morning like saying the Pledge of Allegiance and like then going to eat breakfast together and then having your like daily activities. I think it's so like the whole summer camp um thing is like something I didn't get to do growing up. Like I never went to a summer camp. I was just lived outdoors type, like lived out in the woods type thing. But having that experience and watching the kids get to grow and find their community is so important. Um, like last year I had this instance where like there's a camper also born with a cleft. And he was kind of like he stuck to my side the whole week. We were on a hike, and some of the other little kids was asking like, "Why does Jonah look that way?" And like asking about like his appearance, and I was able to have that conversation with them, like, "Oh, like." He was born with like a cleft lip and palate, and then I was able to like chime in and be like, I also have the same condition. And Jonah, like, he turned around and he looked at me. He was like, "You're like me?" He's like, "You've had surgeries?" And like, I'm like, "Yeah, I have." And it's like, I want more moments like that. Like, having the ability to, like, connect to, like, other people like that is just so great. And allowing for people to find their community is just so great.
Wow, that is that just shows how powerful having a community is. My gosh. I feel like it's really easy for people to think like, "Oh, it's really not that important." Like,
Mhm.
but but when you go through these differences, whether craniofacial or rare disease, whatever it may be, your life does not look the same as someone else. And even
Yeah.
when you have a difference that look like that you can see visibly, like, and they see someone else that has the same difference, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like everything that I've been through
Yeah.
basically because you can relate." And it's really just that relating because it can feel very lonely when you're the
Yeah,
only person in that
yeah.
community, like we were talking about earlier. And it blows my mind, the power of community. And yeah, like it's so important that if if you have the opportunity for yourself or for your kid to go be a part of a community where there's people who have the same diagnosis,
Hmm.
go do it. Like
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's so important. It will change everything.
Like, I don't think I met someone else with like a cleft until I came to college,
Wow.
which is crazy to think about now. But it's once I found that, like, found my little like group and community, it's been so nice. I'm like, how did I get through like childhood without that? Like having someone to relate to and be like, I know what you're going through. Like it's scary, it's hard, but like it will like turn out for the best. Like having that is just it's so nice.
Amazing. Yeah, so I guess the main message is community. Is there anything else that you feel that you need to share?
I feel like I could always go on rants about with the craniofacial um there's a really big issue about like insurance coverage for like craniofacial surgeries and like insurance not um allowing like a child to have these surgeries because they view it as it's a cosmetic surgery rather than this has big functional changes for the child. Like just using myself as an example with my rhinoplasty, like insurance, it's like, oh, that's she's just getting a nose job. Like, what's why should we like cover that? But it's like I'm like I physically like cannot breathe how like I normally should be able to breathe. Like, um, I know there's a guy through Operation Smile. His name is Jackson. He does a lot of advocacy with cleft lips and palates. And he's trying to propose the ELSA Act. So it's like Everlasting Smiles Act. He talks to people in DC and advocates for why insurance should allow for craniofacial surgeries. I've had like instances where people would be like, "Oh, like you're so pretty, like you don't need that surgery." Like and it's like, "No, I can't breathe." Like, yes I do. It's like advocating in the sense of having surgeries not for like cosmetic benefits and but having them for like functionality benefits. Um and it's just like the view of plastic surgery as a whole for someone born with like a cranial facial birth defect or difference. Um when they talk about them having like plastic surgery, not having it so they can look quote unquote more normal, but having it so they can have better like functionality for life.
Yeah. Wow. Because, like, a lot of when you are talking about craniofacial things, like, it's more functionality, like,
Hmm.
challenges that people are facing rather than the, I need to look better. It's more
Yeah.
functional, like, so, wow. That's, it's just wild hearing, like, what insurance companies, like, will say and like really what they'll do with not
Hmm.
covering things, and then you need like you as the patient needing to fight against what they're actually saying because you're like, no, I actually do need this like for my life, and it's not because I want
Yeah.
to look better. It's I need to have this so I
Yeah.
can live my life better. um
Exactly.
yeah, wow, that's something. Like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh. Um, yeah, so do you I don't know if you would have any recommendations, but is there any suggestions on how to advocate for this insurance challenge with whenever someone may have a challenge? Like how how do we have less challenges with
Uh,
insurance companies?
I think just making it more like the situation more well known. Um, And then I know, like I said, Jackson does a lot of things with like the Elsa Act. I know he's always needing like signatures or support. So just like supporting those causes. I know doctors do a lot of fight for insurance and like patient advocacy. But just making it more of like a well-known thing rather than just like something that like happens is important.
To any of our listeners, there may be some information in the description on how to advocate for these challenges that the craniofacial community comes up against sometimes with insurance companies. And Darcey, it was so great having this conversation with you today. I am
Yeah,
so I'm really excited for everything that you are working towards, everything that you're just doing with your life, and really just dipping your feet into the advocacy world of craniofacial things. And
thank
so,
you.
yeah, of course, I'm so happy that we were able to do this and grateful, of course. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great episode. And so, if you enjoyed listening to this episode, please make sure to like it, to comment, and to subscribe. We'll see you in a few weeks with another episode. See you later.